Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Heart of, where we talk about the themes of games, movies, comics, anything with a great story. So, today's episode is going to be about The Last of Us Part 2. Last night I saw that they were doing a remaster of Part 2, and I thought, why not just dive in and do an episode? I had already planned on doing it at this point, some point, but, no time like the present. So, Last of Us Part 2 is about the cycle of vengeance. So, we're going to do a quick recap of part one and then quickly go into part two. So, part one is you're following a man named Joel Miller who gets to see the world break down due to a fungal infection that quickly takes people over, making them into this kind of human fungal zombie thing, and has to experience the heartache of seeing a society go up in flames. So, for example, in the beginning of the game, his daughter dies. He quickly loses faith in everything, doing whatever he has to survive. He goes through a split with his brother due to having to do anything to survive. And at one point, he's giving a job to transport this a little girl across the country to a resistance group from Boston to Utah called the Fireflies. So he brings this little girl because she is immune and she can't get infected, so they think the heart of the cure lies with her. Over the course of the game, he starts to open up to her. They go through experiences. I'm rushing through part one just so you can kind of get a sense of what I'm going to refer to when I talk about part two. So he brings her to the hospital. Over the course of the game, you as the player and Joel as the character begin to bond with Ellie. You have this relationship with her, and you get to see her as a surrogate daughter. And there's a one particular moment where he calls her baby girl, and that's what he called his real daughter. And it's solidified. That is now the surrogate daughter. So he brings her to the hospital, and they say in order to get the cure and figure out why she's immune, they have to take the growth on the brain and they have to kill her essentially. So Joel doesn't like that one bit and snaps due to all of his traumatic experiences, and his first instinct as a father kills everyone to save his daughter, to save Ellie. He's driving. He ends up making amends with his brother, so they're bringing her back to his camp. And Ellie says, "What happened?" And Joel lies to her. Joel says, "Oh, there was no cure. There are a bunch of people that are immune like you, and you know, it's not, it's not going to work out." And Ellie begrudgingly accepts this. She doesn't she doesn't quite say like, "No, you're lying to me," but she's like, "Okay," but she feels something's up. So she makes him promise that was the whole truth, nothing but the truth. And Joel's like, "Yep, that's how it was." So Ellie begrudgingly accepts it. Now, going into the second game, they have all this kind of trust issues. They don't really know where they stand with one another, and you get to see quick, when things in the camp are going well, um, and that she knows something's still up. Joel hasn't told her the whole truth, and she kind of figures that. So, by the title of this video, you must be wondering, Michael, what's the cycle of vengeance? So, for Last of Us Part Two, I'm gonna break my rule. I'm gonna tell the whole story. I feel like I'd be doing a disservice to this story and my enthusiasm for this story if I didn't explain the whole thing. So, this is a giant spoiler warning for The Last of Us Part 2. If you're still around, I'll give you 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Boom, going in. So, The Last of Us Part 2 starts with Joel confessing to Tommy what happened. Tommy's his brother. What happened in the first game, that he killed these doctors to save Ellie. Tommy says he'll take it with him. They ride back into their camp. Joel has talked to Ellie. Ellie is a little distant, but they still have a relationship. Remember, at the end of the first game, she was a little like, I can sense something's up. Some time passes. You're now playing as Ellie. You're going on these patrols. Apparently, something happened the night before. There was some sort of fight. People are asking, "How are you and Joel?" Ellie's pushing it off. There's a lady that may have kissed her. Name's Dina. Her Dina's ex Jesse's giving her crap about it. Not in like oh, you kissed my girl, but like in a that we're split. Like, if you want to make moves, make moves. They go on a patrol. They go into the harsh wilderness. You can sense that Ellie, again, something happened between Ellie and Joel to cause a shift. I wonder what that could be. So they're going on patrol. They find this old bunker with weed in it. Ellie and Dina make out a little bit. They get caught because of the storm. Some time passes. Jesse finds them, and it's like, where the hell have you guys been? Like, we can't find Joel and Tommy. Hard cut. You're playing as this new character, Abby. She's talking to her team. Something, one of them got this girl pregnant. This upsets Abby. Something's going on. The person who told her that he got someone else pregnant is Owen. They had a previous relationship. Abby is someone who keeps a lot of her feelings to herself. She's not an open person. She hides her feelings in her muscles. she's very buff. So they're here for a purpose, but we don't know what that purpose is. As you're playing as Abby, you run into Joel and Tommy, and they're running from some infected. They help you out, and they make the mistake of being like, "My name's Joel and my name's Tommy," and they're like, "Okay, why don't you come back to our camp?" So they instinctively head back to their camp, and as they're walking in, Joel gets shotgunned in the knee. Tommy gets pushed down, and Abby reveals that she knows who Joel is. Joel Miller had killed Abby's father not that long ago when he had killed all the doctors to get Ellie out. In fact, Abby's father was the head surgeon that was going to operate on Ellie in order to get the infection out, in order to synthesize a cure. And Abby got to walk in to see her father's knifed corpse. And that obviously is upsetting for Abby, and she wants revenge, thus starting the cycle. So Abby begins to beat mercilessly Joel, and while this is going on, switch back over to Ellie. Ellie's out looking for Joel. She finds the building because it's all kind of in proximity. She hears noises and she finds Joel just getting mercilessly beat, and she is pleading with Abby, "Please just stop." And Joel, get up, and he doesn't. Abby doesn't allow it. And finally, after prodding from Abby's compatriots, she kills Joel with a golf club to the head, thus starting the journey of The Last of Us Part 2 and the cycle of vengeance. So instead of killing Ellie, they just knock her out. Her and Tommy make, Some time passes, they're back at camp. Ellie is going through this grieving process. They go to Joel's house. She's like, I'm gonna find this group. I don't care how big they are, how armed they are. They found a patch that said the Washington Liberation Front, and they're gonna go and they're gonna get him. Tommy's pleading with her. He's like, "Give me a day, give me some time." Ellie's like, "Listen, I'm doing it," and but she reluctantly gives Tommy the respect, and he's like, "Okay, I'll give you a day." So what she doesn't know is Tommy had left. He left early to try to get this done, so Ellie would not have to be in harm's way. Uh, Tommy's wife is like, "Listen, he left. Go bring him back before he does something stupid." So Tommy's wife, who leads the camp, reluctantly lets Ellie and Dina go find Tommy. And what it is really this journey, this self-reflective journey of anger and hate. I mean, the depths Ellie sinks to. So the idea is she's just looking for the woman that killed Joel. That's all she wants. That's all she needs. That's what she feels is going to make her whole is by killing the woman that killed her father figure. So over the course of the game, you're exploring downtown Seattle. You're finding clues. You get to see that there's a list, there's photos, and Ellie is methodically, she's ruthless in this game, taking these people out. So you see her finding the list of people. She's taking out Abby's friends. Now, on the flip side of this, ever since the death, things haven't been the same with Abby and her group of friends. I don't think. I think they think that's what they wanted was to kill Joel, but emotionally, they're having a hard time processing it. And while that's going on, the group they're part of, the Washington Liberation Front, is having the skirmish with another group called the Seraphites, and they call them the Scars. And they're a religious, radicalist organization that may at one point have been a peaceful thing, but has been so twisted by the men that run it that what it started as isn't what it is anymore. And they're awful, they're transphobic, they're just not a good group of people. So they're at war with these group, and through Abby's own adventuring and seeing what's going on, she runs into a young woman named Yara and a young man named Lev, who are fleeing the Scars because at one point, uh, Lev is a trans man, and before he had transitioned, you know, he was given a role, and he did not accept it because that was not who he was inside. And Yara, his sister, at first didn't understand it, but grew to understand it, to grew and understand her brother and love her brother, and so they left. And Abby protects these kids, and you can, it's like they did the Joel redemption arc, but for Abby. So Abby grows to, you know, love these two little knuckleheads. Lev is such a sweet boy who just believes in the original purpose, maybe what the original founder wanted for the Seraphites, but not what it is anymore. Um, and as they're adventuring, they're finding that, Abby's finding that people are killing her friends. And little does she know it's Ellie again, this is a cycle of violence and vengeance. So as Ellie's killing Abby's friends and Abby's finding their bodies, they're this. When do you break the cycle of violence? When does it all end? How does this go apart? Now, I said I'd tell the whole story, and I feel like I'm kind of going back and forth on that, just because I'm gonna give major details, so I guess that's where the spoiler tag comes in. But it's still absolutely worth playing. The idea that causing more hate and suffering isn't going to change things. It's not going to fix things. It's not going to make things better. So, back to it. Ellie is eventually runs into Abby. They have a confrontation. Um, you find out Dina's pregnant. It's Jesse's baby. You know, Abby is clearly upset that Ellie had killed her friends. She had killed Owen. She had killed Owen's girlfriend Mel, who was also pregnant. Ellie did not know. There, a lot of moral lines are being crossed in this, and Ellie has to go to a level and become a person that I don't think she ever thought she would become when she was 14. So here's a great example. Ellie goes to a hospital to look for Abby. She finds one of Abby's friends, Nora. Um, at first, she's like, "Tell me where Abby is, and I'll let you go." Nora's like, "I'm not going to betray my friend." So, they're talking, and Nora's like, "Doesn't it? Oh, yeah, like, Joel screamed like a little bitch," and it flies Ellie into a rage, and they run, they have this chase, they fall into this infected zone. Now remember, Ellie's can't get infected, so Nora's gonna die. She's gonna get infected, and Ellie tells Nora, "I can make it quick, or I can make it painful." Nora doesn't want to give up her friend, so in the scene you see Ellie's hand raise up with a pipe, and it just says press square. And as soon as you press square, it swings and it cuts, and you just see Ellie's hand shaking. And I remember playing that moment and being like, I had to pause and walk away. Like I had to walk away from the game for like a minute just to be like, holy crap! What a moment! Just to, oh my god, where Ellie's going, and and she's not stopping herself. So the places Ellie was gonna go to find Abby, and then when you're playing as Abby, you're seeing it from her point of view. So when she's a little girl, and her father was this surgeon that cared about animals, that cared about the world around him, that you know, and when she sees her father dead, for a moment you're like, damn. But where does it end? What the original sin? At one point, do you break the chain? So, just to give a recap, Ellie is searching for Abby, killing Abby's friends. Abby uh, is finding her friends hurt and trying to navigate this battle with the Seraphites. She had run into Lev and Yara, and she's protecting them. Cool. So, at one point, uh, Lev is like, I need to say goodbye to my mom before we do anything, and he sneaks off. Um, Abby and Yara go to save Lev. There's a big fight and big commotion on the island. Yara gets killed, saving them. Lev and Abby escape. Ellie's doing her thing. They come back. Abby finds Owen and her friend Mel dead. They find like a map that Ellie left behind. They confront Ellie. Uh, Jesse gets shot in the head. Tommy gets crippled. and Ellie and Abby have a confrontation. Now, Abby wins. Abby just dominates and almost kills Dina. And it's only through Lev that Abby relents and is like, don't, I see you again. I'm putting you down. And Ellie's like, I have to give up on this. For Dina's sake, I have to give up on this. And even earlier in the mission, Jesse's like, how far are you, before he gets killed, Jesse's like, how far are you willing to take this? How far do you need this to go? And at the moment, Ellie's willing to give it up. She's like, I'm willing to put Dina's health due to her being pregnant and bringing her back to camp more than this mission of vengeance, even though I swore I would make her pay. So, due to that, due to Dina being pregnant, due to the recent complications, due to Abby absolutely wrecking them, she puts it at ease. Abby goes off to find what she believes is remnants of the Fireflies with Lev. Abby and Lev get kidnapped by slavers, the Rattlers, and they're in Santa Barbara. Ellie is off on a ranch with Dina. They have a baby. The baby was healthily born, Potato, and Ellie seems content. She's happy with Dina. They love one another. They have this beautiful relationship. Dina truly cares about Ellie, and Ellie truly cares about Dina. What I like is throughout the game, Ellie has this notebook that you see her write in, and you get to kind of flip through and lyrics and just her mental state. So Tommy catches wind of where Abby potentially is and goes to Ellie and is like, look, I think she's here. I can't do it, but like, I know you can. Let's. And Dina's like, nope, we swore off this journey. We're not doing this anymore. And Tommy doesn't take that well, and they have like a whole fight. And Ellie doesn't know how to feel about it, and there's a moment where Ellie's herding sheep, and a storm happens, and she hears a sheep scream, and she has a PTSD flashback of Joel screaming, and she can't sleep that night. And through the journal, you found out that there's some nights she can't sleep at all, that she can't eat at all, that it's rattling in her head. When she closes her eyes, all she sees is Joel's dead body. And she makes a decision like, I have to do this. I have to end this. Maybe this will bring me closure. And the idea of like, the only thing, nothing realistically is going to give Ellie closure. That was a horrible traumatic experience. And the one chance of healing was snatched away. How do you live through that? How do you go seeing someone brutally murdered in front of you and thinking there's any chance that you can just walk away and heal from it? I don't think there is. So, I mean, you can heal, but it just takes time, patience, and love, and it's not going to go away overnight. And so, Ellie going on this quest of vengeance isn't going to make things better. It's going to make things worse. So, Ellie is packing up, and Dina sees her, and she pleads with her, like, "Come on, don't do this. I can't just sit here and wait, thinking like, is she dead? Is she not dead? Is she coming back to me? Am I just gonna wait forever?" And Ellie's like, "I have to do this." So Dina is like, "If you do this, I'm not gonna be here." So Ellie leaves and searches for Abby. Ellie herself gets caught by the Rattlers and eventually breaks out, finds a very malnutrition like Abby and Lev, and Abby's over it. Abby's like, I'm just trying to escape, and Abby's first thought is Lev. I need to protect Lev. I need to make sure that he has a future. So, as they're trying to break out, Ellie's like, this ain't over. I'll kill Lev. You're fighting me. And I remember playing this like, Ellie, let it go. Like, let it go. Ellie can't let it go. So they have this fight. The one thing that always connected Ellie and Joel was the guitar. Joel had taught her since the first game. They had songs. Ellie became a lyricist. She loves music. As they fight, Abby bites off two of Ellie's fingers as she's choking her in the water, but she keeps putting pressure on it. And eventually she has this vision almost of Joel being like, what are you doing? And she lets her go and she says, get out of here. And it's almost like, and she just cries to herself. And forgiveness isn't easy. And I don't know in that moment if Ellie forgave Abby, but maybe for the first time, she's looked at who she's become and she's willing to let it go. She's willing to try to move on. She goes back home. Dina's not there. The baby's not there. All of their stuff, the happy home that they once had, all of Ellie's stuff is just in a room. Dina didn't want any of it. Dina's off. Ellie picks up the guitar and tries to play, and she can't. The one connection she had with Joel, the memories. Over the course of the game, you have these great flashbacks that talk about or show Joel and Ellie's relationship from the first game on. So there's a great one where Joel takes Ellie to a museum for her birthday, gets to show her some cool astronaut stuff, some cool dinosaur stuff, gets her this tape where she gets to imagine she's like an astronaut going off into space. There's another flashback where you get to see the relationship kind of start to crumble. And then one where you find out Ellie learns the truth about the hospital and that Joel essentially killed her one chance for immense survivor's guilt, in Ellie's words, to feel like she mattered by giving her life to something important. So Ellie is like, I won't talk to you anymore. Tell me the truth and I'll stick around. Joel tells her the truth and Ellie's like, I'll come back, but we're done. So the fight that I was talking about in the beginning of the game, essentially Dina and Ellie kiss at this dance. This guy is a bigot and says, oh, we can't have no lesbians kissing. And Joel gets involved and Ellie flips on him like, I don't need your help. I don't need, get out of my face. So later that night, what we didn't see was Joel's drinking coffee on his porch, and Ellie's like, you didn't need to do that. And Joel's like, I know. And they talk, and it's like, you took the one thing that would have made my life matter. And Joel's like, I'm going to do whatever it is to protect you. If I could have a chance at it again, I would do the same thing again. And Ellie's like, I can't forgive you for that. But I can learn to try. And that was the first step in healing between Joel and Ellie, for them to heal the rift that had been there since the first game. And that's what was taken away from Ellie in game 2. That's what Abby stole from Ellie, the chance to heal again. Now, that's the whole thing about the cycle of vengeance. Joel takes from Abby. Abby takes from Ellie. Let's say Ellie did kill Abby. Now Abby takes from Lev. Does Lev continue the cycle of violence? Where does it end? Because one person takes, another person takes, and it's just one more person. If I hurt you, I hurt someone else in your life that may want to hurt me, which hurts someone else in my life. At one point, you have to break the chain of violence. And it's not an easy stop. It's not like I'm just going to choose not to do this. You're going to have these feelings. And it's interesting that the biggest thing in the game is just when to stop, how to look at the world and say, this needs to end. So that's The Last of Us Part 2. I hope you enjoyed it. I know I kind of was all over the place with the cycle of violence and hate and essentially how to let it go, how to put it down. So I hope you enjoyed it. I think the game is incredible. I also left out I left a lot of wiggle room. There's a lot of characters I didn't talk about. Manny, Owen, Mel, the relationships between these characters and the main characters. It's absolutely worth playing. The remaster comes out in January. The game also was out on PS4, so it's absolutely worth playing just to get the whole breadth of this story. So thank you for listening. Hope you have a great day.